Israel's military said the order, which has raised fears of an imminent ground offensive on the densely populated enclave, was intended to minimize civilian casualties in the war against Hamas, but the United Nations said it was impossible and risked a humanitarian disaster. Senator Tim Scott is blaming President Joe Biden for Hamas's terrorist attacks in Israel. Scott accused Biden of having blood on his hands and suggested the president was complicit in the Hamas assault. Scott said that Biden's weakness invited the attack. His cash giveaways to Iran helped fund terrorism. That's a direct quote from Scott, who was referring to the administration's agreeing to unfreeze $6 billion in Iranian oil money this year as part of an exchange for American prisoners. But at the time of the attack, Iran had not yet been able to access any of that money, which is in a monitored account, and was restricted for humanitarian use. Top progressive lawmakers are urging President Joe Biden to lean more heavily on Israel as it launches what seems like it will likely be an aggressive and lengthy campaign in Gaza. The leader of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, along with dozens more lawmakers, wrote the president and Secretary of State Antony Blinken a letter today asking them to push Israel to follow international law and for the United States to help establish a humanitarian corridor as the war in the Middle East escalates. Their demands come as Israel has ordered more than 1 million Palestinians in northern Gaza to move south. The letter marks the most public effort by progressives in Congress to shape the administration's policy to the region in the wake of Hamas's attack in Israel, which left more than 1,000 dead and hundreds taken hostage. House Republicans today voted to make Rep. Jim Jordan of Ohio their next nominee for Speaker. Jordan finished second to Steve Scalise in internal balloting earlier this week, but Scalise dropped out last night as he struggled to attract the votes he would need to be elected by the full chamber. It is not clear whether Jordan will be able to do so either. And a Colorado jury yesterday convicted one of two officers charged in the 2019 death of Elijah McClain, a black pedestrian who was put in a chokehold and injected with a powerful sedative. The jury acquitted the other officer. The jury convicted Aurora police officer Randy Rodema of criminally negligent homicide and third-degree assault. Former Aurora officer Jason Rosenblatt was acquitted. Both had been charged with reckless manslaughter as well as the lesser charges of criminally negligent homicide and assault. Sentencing is set for January 5th. Rodema had been suspended without pay, while Rosenblatt was fired in 2020 after he responded "ha ha" to a picture texted to him by other officers, one of whom appeared to be administering a chokehold near a memorial for McClain. And several of Donald Trump's Republican rivals denounced him yesterday for lashing out at Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu days after Hamas's deadly attack, a rare moment in which multiple competitors directly criticized the GOP frontrunner. Trump at a rally Wednesday said Netanyahu let us down just before the U.S. killed top Iranian General Qasem Soleimani in 2020. He also said Israeli leaders needed to step up their game and referred to Hezbollah, the group Israel fears may launch a large-scale attack from the country's north, as very smart. While Trump and Netanyahu were close allies for years, Trump turned on Netanyahu after Netanyahu congratulated President Biden for winning the 2020 election. That's what this is really about. So we're going to get into all of the craziness happening in the Middle East and in the House of Representatives today with Chris Walton, the former chair of the Democratic Party of Milwaukee County, right when we come forward right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's the real deal in real time. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
Wireless headphones. That'll be $200.
I'll use my Capital One Quicksilver card.
Now that's a hit. You used the Capital One Quicksilver card, which makes you the hero of every purchase. With Quicksilver, you earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere.
I wanted running music, but unlimited 1.5% cash back is pretty heroic.
Good instincts. Every hero needs a theme song. The Capital One Quicksilver card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
On your period, sudden gushes happen without warning. But now, you can say goodbye to stand-up gush fears. thanks to Always Ultra Thins with rapid dry technology. It absorbs gushes 2 times faster than the leading store brand and gives you up to 100% leak-free protection. Hello, clean and comfortable with Always Fear No Gush.
Ugh, I don't have time for a cold.
Honey.
Honey?
You need DayQuil Severe Honey flavor.
DayQuil Severe Honey gives you powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a honey-licious taste. Because life doesn't stop for a cold.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
Now I'm getting a cold.
Honey.
Try DayQuil Severe Honey for powerful cold and flu relief. DayQuil Severe Honey flavor. The daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, honey-licious. Power through your day, medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South LA high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont, but serves young people all over South LA. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCES scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The way we spend our time defines who we are. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's the Friday edition of Areva Martin in Real Time. Avi Bernard here with you every Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific. And thank you for listening, whether you're listening on 1580 a.m. here in Los Angeles, live on the free KBLA app, or listening to and watching us on YouTube. You can watch us on YouTube. Joined by Christopher Walton, the former chair of the Democratic Party of Milwaukee County. Chris, always a pleasure to have you here, and you celebrated a birthday last week. How was it?
I did. I got a chance to, and thank you for having me. 35. I'm officially old enough to run for president now. So
hey.
That makes me officially more qualified than Trump. So.
Yeah, well, you were more qualified than him before it became official. Let's just make that clear. But really glad to have you here on a day like today. You are the former chair of the Democratic Party of Milwaukee County, but you're also a student of foreign policy. You pay attention to these things. You follow these things. It's obviously a very complicated situation. And one thing, there are many things that are horrible right now. The foremost of which is the atrocities suffered by civilians in Israel and being murdered and kidnapped, women and children and babies, and also the atrocities that are being suffered and are going to be suffered in the coming weeks by Palestinian civilians who have nothing to do with this. And so what also bothers me is people who act like they know what they're talking about when they don't, and just saying stuff that makes no sense. And I suppose we'll get into that at some point this hour, but just. The situation is really dire. In hour number 2, I'm going to have actually a cousin of mine. Those of you who know me know I'm a black Jew. I'm black and Jewish. In the second hour, I'm going to have a cousin of mine who lived in Israel for 18 years and who still visits Israel often. And my uncle, his father, still lives there, as do many of all of his siblings and nieces and nephews. So. I'm going to be talking to him in the second hour about the situation, but right now I want to get your thoughts, Chris, to start on the order to evacuate. Or you know what, Chris, it's a crazy situation. Let me just get your top line reaction and what's at the top of your mind right now.
Well, first and foremost, just to set a baseline here, the acts of Hamas are extraordinary, and they are it's beyond human thought of what is acceptable behavior. We condemn, first and foremost, as clearly and strongly as possible, I condemn these attacks. I think that it is abhorrent. There are ways that there is no set way of how you can tell somebody how to respond to anything that's happening to them. Whether you agree with either side, the Israelis or the Palestinians, I believe we all should be able to agree that these actions from Hamas, a terrorist organization, are unacceptable and they should not be. They should not be the case.
Right.
The entirety of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is a situation. There is no black and white in the situation. This is a situation where the entire portrait is just levels of gray.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to see the situation. I hate to see the situation happening because nobody should be faced with this level of chaos in their lives, be it being locked in Gaza or having to have a home in Israel with a safe room in it where you leave your kids at night because you don't feel that you can't feel like you don't feel that you can protect them from a mortar round. And this is something that we as a human society need to figure out how to live together. Otherwise, we will definitely kill each other. And so I hate to see this. In regards to how everything is going, I firmly believe that Israel has the right to protect itself and defend itself. This is a situation that, we've seen unnecessary amounts of bloodshed, and it's been an uncomfortable situation to watch. Hopefully, we can get cooler minds back to the table to actually get this situation under hand. I pray for the people of the world. I pray for the people in the Middle East. I pray for the Israelis and the Palestinians, especially those non-combatants who are literally, a million of them are literally being told to evacuate your home because we're about to knock this entire area down. It's a hard situation.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's very difficult to even understand all of the history that goes into this conflict, and that's something we're going to be talking about deeply in the second hour. But just as you said, Chris, I mean, you can, whatever side of this conflict you're on, you can be against the Israeli government and still understand that it's Israeli citizens who were massacred and kidnapped. I mean, you can be against Trump and still understand that if a mass shooting occurs in a black neighborhood by a white supremacist terrorist, then you can be against that as well, and you can be, or you can be for Trump and be against that. I mean, it's not like you can just be against the Israeli government and not understand that they're innocent people that are killed. And so that's the part of this that really confuses me. And just for context, Israel has a population of about 9.4 million.
Right.
And there are 330 million people in the United States. So if you put into context this attack and compare it to 9/11, it was on a scale relative to population that is 10 times worse than 9/11 was for us, if you're talking about just the scale of population. And so just how we responded to 9/11 by starting unnecessary wars, and we went crazy, literally, and not in a good way. And so to say that Israel doesn't have a right to defend themselves, like you said, they have a right to defend themselves, and we can talk about how they should do it. I don't know if anyone knows the best way to do it, because doing nothing is not an option. You have Hamas is a terrorist organization, and most Palestinian people do not support Hamas. But Hamas's mission has not been to get better conditions for the people of Gaza. Hamas's mission has been to destroy Israel. Right. And so
that's their whole setup.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the reason they exist. And so to talk about this in any kind of black and white way, as you said, Chris, is just not, it doesn't make sense. And so I'm just, about this humanitarian crisis, about the pending, ongoing humanitarian crisis with those in Gaza, who are about 1 million of them are being asked to leave their homes by the Israeli Defense Forces, and Hamas is saying, "Oh, don't do it. Just stay there." And so they're being told to flee south. And so, what do you think about this move to try to get the people, the citizens of Gaza, to evacuate about 1 million people?
Imagine someone coming to you, Avi, or your family, or any folks listening to us tonight. Imagine someone coming to you and telling you, "Get out of your house. I'm about to level your entire neighborhood."
Get out of California, really. I mean, get out of LA County. Yeah.
Right. You got to go. I don't know where you're going, but you got to get up out of here, because we're about to come through and we're about to level this entire area. I feel for the families that are like, I had nothing to do with this. I am literally stuck in a bad situation, and I'm about to lose everything. My family's been on this land for untold amounts of time. I feel for these people. And I wish this was not the situation. And I wish that they didn't have to do this, and I wish that Hamas wasn't there causing this problem. I hope that the Israeli Defense Forces will follow the rules of war. I hope that they will remain parts of, they are a part of many international treaties and rules of war and laws and Geneva Convention. But they're coming. And they have made it very clear. Prime Minister Netanyahu has made it very clear that he is mowing through and he is not stopping. So I hope that those that can will take heed to get out of that area. And we pray for those and hope that those who cannot get away really are protected from any of the violence that is about to happen.
Yeah, just really hard to even contemplate what they're going through over there. And this you would think is not the ideal time to play politics, but your boy Senator Tim Scott is blaming President Joe Biden for the terrorist attack, and this is just Tim Scott. He was never a viable candidate for president, and he performed horribly at the debates. He's not a good speaker. He's not that smart. He just doesn't have a lot going for him. And these latest comments, though, are a new low for him, and saying that Joe Biden has blood on his hands and that he was complicit in this assault. And so this has been a talking point on the right that, oh, yeah, Joe Biden gave them $6 billion. First of all, he didn't give them $6 billion.
It was theirs.
Yeah, it's theirs that he unfroze, and he unfroze it for humanitarian purposes. But what your thoughts on this just weird, crazy, unhinged take by Tim Scott? And by the way, that money, it hadn't even been accessible yet at the time of the attack. So it's not even true. Even if you wanted to imagine that money could have been used for that purpose. But your thoughts?
I remember a line from an old movie. When the lie is better than the truth, you print the lie. And that has become clearly the bedrock principles of the Republican Party in the last, this end of the 21st century. Right. Wait. No, back it up a few more. But this is how they operate. This is their modus operandi. They lie, and then we have to spend time cleaning it up. But one thing I've learned from politics: the more you're cleaning up and explaining, you're not getting your message across because you're too busy explaining this. We need to make it very clear. This money, these billions of dollars, is not that we're giving them money. This is their money. And this money was not utilized in this process because the money is still in the account that we have control over. This money is being made available for food, for medications. That's all. We have a final say on where this money goes. You know how when you swipe your card and it says authorizing? When they swipe that card to get food, it literally goes to the White House. Are we authorizing this charge? So don't listen to the idiots. Don't listen to the lies and the disinformation. When the lies are better than the truth, you print the lie. That is the policy of the Republican National Committee and every single one of these members of Congress and all these candidates. Please, America, look beyond what they're saying. Dig deeper.
Yeah, man. And if you want to get involved in the conversation, 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580 is the number to call. And there was a really remarkable conversation between Ted Koppel, a real journalist, and Sean Hannity, a fake journalist, years ago, in which Ted Koppel was, telling Sean Hannity about himself in a really accurate and professional way. And, Sean Hannity was sitting there with that just jerk off, smarmy look on his face that is always on his face. Right. And so Ted Koppel was basically saying, you personally are dangerous because you are someone and you are turning the party into someone, into something that considers opinion more important than fact. And when you just said that quote about if the lie is more, is better than the truth and you print the lie, that's exactly what they live by now. And it doesn't make any sense to me. But what do you make of the sort of idea that Tim Scott was this more rational Republican, this kind of more common sense Republican who might be a better alternative to Trump? What do you make of that idea in light of crazy comments like this?
Well, the first, I had to stop myself. I'm on radio. Tim Scott is a very flamboyant character. And for him to actually consider himself a viable candidate and all that kind of stuff for the presidency, it's just a mess. I don't believe in my heart of hearts that he will end up being the Republican nominee. He won't be standing in Milwaukee raising his hand up on that stage the last night of the convention. This is a man who is clearly delusional, and he thinks a lot of people are delusional also. Him and his girlfriend. We're just gonna leave it at that. A fool and his money will soon be parted, and Tim Scott will be returned to the U.S. Senate, sadly.
Oh yeah, he not only is he not going to win, but his campaign will be over very soon. He is not. Yeah. Not only is he not going to win, he's not even going to come anywhere near being able to think he might be able to win. He's not even going to. I don't think he's going to ever poll greater than, I don't even know what his highest poll numbers were, but he ain't getting out of single digits, that's for sure. And it's just this comment reeks of desperation. And all of these candidates are desperate. They're too, and I have to stop myself from saying some things about them on the radio as well, but they're too chicken-ish to attack Donald Trump, even though he's the one they're running directly against, and they're too scared to go after him, and they'll make up some crazy stuff like Joe Biden is responsible for the attack when it makes zero sense, just because maybe it feels good to blame somebody that you don't like for some horrific thing that happens around the world. But it's just so weird, man. It's so weird, and this party has just really, I mean, not that they've had strong ideals or morals for a long time, but it's just the depths at which they continue to sink are just remarkable.
And remember, this is the same group of folks that, who literally blamed Hillary Clinton for Benghazi happening after they cut funding to embassies.
Right. Right.
Have you no decency? Have you no shame?
And the answer is no, they don't.
Right.
They absolutely do not. And when we come forward, we're going to continue talking about this issue in Israel and Gaza and how progressive lawmakers are urging President Biden to lean on Israel to make sure to stand by the international rules of war when they undertake this siege of Gaza, and they're going in there to try to root out the terrorists, but it's difficult because of how the terrorists have intertwined themselves in that territory. They build their tunnels underneath people's literal homes and schools and hospitals, and how should they approach this? It's a tough question, and we're also going to talk about the Jim Jordan and the fight over the House speakership, whether he can be elected speaker, and also the jury convicting one of the two officers who was charged with murdering Elijah McClain in 2019. We will talk about that after this news, traffic, and sports update, as well as what in the white privilege right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Areva time is the right time. More of Areva Martin in real time when we come forward.
I'm Esther Dillard, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The U.S. Department of Labor says Pitney Bowes will pay nearly $1.6 million to resolve alleged hiring discrimination at 5 of its facilities. That includes those in Reading and Levittown, Pennsylvania. Federal officials say the company reportedly discriminated against Black, Hispanic, and white applicants when they applied for mail sorting positions. Meantime, a former Colorado police officer is being found guilty in the death of Elijah McClain. Back in 2019, the African-American died after officers subdued him and EMTs injected him with ketamine. On Thursday, a Colorado jury found Officer Randy Rodema guilty of criminally negligent homicide and third-degree assault. Officer Jason Rosenblatt was acquitted of all charges. And Rudolph Isley of the Isley Brothers has died at 84 years old. And that's the latest. I'm Esther Dillard from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Good news over in Boyle Heights. Crash has been cleared from the 10 East connector for those on the 5 North. However, a 25-minute traffic jam in recovery continues from Olympic Boulevard. In West LA's 405 South between Sunset and La Tierra Boulevard, a 40-minute traffic jam in backup continues. Also back on the 101 South through Hollywood, a 40 to 45-minute traffic jam continues to run heavy between Gower Street and Mission Road. And over in Pacoima, watch for a stall blocking 2 middle lanes on the 118 East before the 5 Laurel Canyon Boulevard interchange, with heavy traffic coming from the 405.
Lowe's knows fall is the perfect time for outdoor projects. Right now, you can keep your yard looking its best and save. Take care of leaves with leaf blowers starting at just $89.98. Lowe's knows home improvement. While supplies last, see store for details.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
One of the best rivalries in college football is back on the field tomorrow. USC is at Notre Dame. The Trojans have not won in South Bend since 2011. 4:30 kickoff tomorrow on NBC. UCLA is at Oregon State tomorrow. They kick off at 5 on Fox. If you need some college football tonight, Stanford is at Colorado. Deion Sanders is trying to get to 2-2 in the Pac-12 Conference. Colorado's two-way star Travis Hunter is back in the lineup after missing the last 3 games with a lacerated liver. 7 o'clock kickoff tonight on ESPN. Major League Baseball's Final Four is set. The Houston Astros and Texas Rangers in the American League, the Philadelphia Phillies and Arizona Diamondbacks in the National League. The Dodgers and the Atlanta Braves had the top 2 records during the regular season. Both teams will be at home. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader. If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580. That's right. Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcasts of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. Got your black. Follow the leader. When the leader. Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
What's up? I'm Danelle Riley, FAMU alumni and creator of the HBCU Culture Shop. I am so proud of my new partnership with Black Beyond Measure and Target. They help me elevate community pride with my HBCU designs and continue to support Black creators and entrepreneurs with Target HBCU challenges, scholarship programs, and campus collaborations. Let's come together this homecoming season and beyond. Shop my brand and discover other Black-owned products at target.com/blackbeyondmeasure.
The Green Foundation, key health influencer, empowering our Black communities through action. The Green Foundation advocates for affordable health care, accessibility, and knows the importance of culturally relatable health care. Regardless of income, we believe it is a right for optimum health. The Green Foundation has been at the forefront for 25 years, dedicated solely to promoting prevention through early detection, annual screenings, and nutrition. We know you because we are you. Our hand-holding approach supports you and your family to receive your right to be treated fairly and receiving quality healthcare services. We want you and your family to know COVID-19 was devastating to our families and to our wallet. We can build back better by understanding prevention, wearing your mask, washing your hands, social distancing, and understanding the impact of long COVID. Get the care you deserve. Take advantage of your privileges. Contact us, info@thegreenfoundation.net. info@thegreenfoundation.net.
At City National, we listen to you.
I want to expand my business and my legacy.
I want to set up the next generation for success.
I want to see my vision come to life.
I want to feel right at home. Your goals, passions, vision, future. We want to hear it and work alongside you to achieve it. Visit cmb.com to learn more. City National Bank. Here for our clients and communities.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. There's no time like the present. Let's get back to more of Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
It is the Friday edition of Areva Martin in Real Time. Avi Bernard here with you every Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific. And thank you for listening on 1580 AM here in Los Angeles on the free KBLA app, and for listening to and watching us on YouTube. The number to call if you want to get involved in the conversation is 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. All right, we're joined by Christopher Walton, the former chair of the Democratic Party of Milwaukee County, and just so much to talk about. Andy, you got that clip? Let me know when you got the clip ready, Andy. You got it? All right, let's Andy, who's at the door?
It's white.
All right, so, Donald Trump has been the center of this segment many times because white privilege is a very real thing. We know this. And his level of white privilege, though, like, it has levels. His level of white privilege is unprecedented because he can say stuff that even other white people can't get away with. And so I want to hear this clip. I want to listen to this clip, Chris, and get your thoughts about it on the other side.
I'll never forget that Bibi Netanyahu let us down. That was a very terrible thing. I will say that. And so when I see sometimes the intelligence, you talk about the intelligence, or you talk about some of the things that went wrong over the last week, they've got to straighten it out because they're fighting potentially a very big force. They're fighting potentially Iran. 2 nights ago, I read all of Biden's security people. Can you imagine? National defense people. And they said, gee, I hope Hezbollah doesn't attack from the north because that's the most vulnerable spot. I said, wait a minute. Hezbollah is very smart. They're all very smart.
Okay, so, Chris, now, I'm just going to let you go because I can say a lot of things about this, but, and I will, but I'm going to let you go first.
Yeah, God, he's a moron. Just a moron. That is it. And for the record, I'm truly not a big fan of Benjamin Netanyahu.
Right. Me neither. My
politics do not align.
Right.
And I have some thoughts. I have some thoughts on Bibi Netanyahu, but at the same time, what is he talking about? What is he ever talking about? I hate that this virus has infected the body politic of the United States of America, and this man is literally even heard from on a daily basis on the stuff that he has heard about. I just don't know where we went wrong. I don't know. Did Barack Obama really upset that many white people to really make them I just lost it?
Yes, he did. Just by existing, he did.
He did everything that was said. Like, this is the American spirit. We go out, we do what we're supposed to do, we become educated, we marry, we build a family, we do public service, and they just lost their damn mind. Oh my God, we gonna go with Donald Trump of all people. He's a moron. He's just a moron.
So many things about what Trump said. Firstly, starting off with, Bibi really let us down. They let us down. He let us down. So, as you said, Chris, absolutely, Bibi Netanyahu is a right-wing leader. I do not agree with him. I don't think he should be in office. I don't agree with any right-wing leader anywhere, and I don't think he's a good prime minister. He's probably largely to blame for this situation even happening. But the point is, though, that this was Trump's boy, and the only reason he's saying this is because Netanyahu congratulated Joe Biden for winning the election. That's the only reason he's saying this, and that just goes to the depths of Trump's childishness and his inability to focus on what's important. Is that at a time like this, when Israel is in crisis, someone who was your ally and who you claim to care about, you'll criticize them because they didn't go along with your lie that you won the election.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason he said that. And then the second part, calling Hezbollah smart. Hezbollah is another terrorist organization. That is what they are. And you say, oh, they're very smart. They're very smart. And then he went on to say that, intelligence people for the United States and Israel saying that they hope that Hezbollah doesn't attack Israel from the north, and that's the reason Hezbollah would have attacked from the north. That is just the dumbest possible thing you can say, as if they're waiting on cues from that they needed to know that Israel didn't want them to attack from the north from some other entity outside of the Israeli intelligence forces. It's so crazy. And then, is he going to pay a price for this? This is why he's in the white privilege segment, because is he going to pay a price for this? Is he going to lose voters? Is his lead going to decrease from 40 to 50%, a 40-point lead in the Republican primary to even to 30? No. He's not going to lose any voters. And if let Joe Biden say something like this, oh my God, let him say something as dumb as this, and they're gonna blame it on his age. They're gonna blame it on Democrats not caring about Israel. All this BS. But Trump says it, and not even a whisper.
When he made fun of John McCain, an American war veteran, a hero. I like my military men who haven't been captured. That was the breaking point right there. This is the Republican Party, America, guns, yeah. And y'all,
hey, that was
y'all
pretty
let me
good.
talk about John McCain.
That was a pretty good imitation there, Chris. I never heard that from you. That was good.
I do comedy on the side, but I'm just saying. I'm like, this is John McCain. You let him attack John McCain. You let him talk about women like this. You let this man do the things he did. It's fine. It's just joking.
Making fun of disabled people. We can never forget about that.
You made fun of a disabled person. And this is acceptable behavior? Whatever, and I know we're going to talk about this hopefully soon. Whatever the Republicans put forward, great. Hopefully the American people can, one, understand it and reject it. And if not, you get what you asked for.
And I appreciate that cue, because we're going to talk about it right now. But that is this week's What in the White Privilege.
It's white.
Speaking of which, Chris, the Republicans in Congress, the House of Representatives, they had a two-horse race between Steve Scalise and Jim Jordan. One of those horses has dropped out. And now I guess the most likely House candidate is a far-right figure named Jim Jordan, who's also very stupid and it doesn't really come off as a serious person or a politician, and certainly is not someone who needs to be in line for the presidency, as you would be if you were the House Speaker. So he has now won the internal Republican vote to be the nominee for Speaker. He now has to get 217 votes in the House to get to be put in that seat. So, what are your thoughts on this latest development with Steve Scalise dropping out, saying, you know what, I'm not trying to get voted down 15 times like Kevin McCarthy. I'm good. And then now Jim Jordan being the leading candidate. What do you think about that?
The thing that I think about is, back before he entered politics, he was the assistant wrestling coach at Ohio State University from 1986 to 1994. And several athletes...
We can never forget about this. We can never forget about this.
Several athletes have come forward and said he ignored rampant sexual abuse from the team doctor. And he just denied it and covered it up. And now, here we are. This man is the Republican nominee for Speaker of the House of Representatives. Like, you can't make this stuff up. John Boehner, former Speaker of the House, John Boehner called this man a legislative terrorist. And this is who you put forward? Let's just think about this for a second. The longest-serving Republican Speaker of the House of Representatives in the United States history, Dennis Hastert, was charged, convicted, and jailed over assaulting children. Now, we bring forward not the one who did it, but the one who was told about it and did nothing.
And ignored it. Yep.
So you can't write this stuff. I don't know anybody. I know we're out in L.A. right now, but I don't know anybody is talented enough in L.A. to write this. Maybe the writer's strike is over. Y'all better get to work. They are outwriting y'all.
We can't outdo this. There's no way we can outdo this. Do you think? So, what do you think is going to happen with Jim Jordan now? I mean, now that he's the Republican nominee, do you think he gets 217 votes?
I don't. I really don't. I think there are enough people who still breathe with their nose still in the Republican Party that would be like, literally, this is the man we're going to put up as our front. It's bad enough Steve Scalise was the one who was running around saying, I'm David Duke without the avid racism. And now we're going to go to Jim Jordan? Well, it's fine, you're being sexually abused, we're just not going to talk about it? Like, come on here.
And that's only part of it, though. That's only part of what makes him such a clown. That was
before he got to Capitol Hill.
Right. That's before he became a legislative terrorist in the eyes of another Republican.
We got some difficult days ahead.
So what happens though? I mean, if he isn't, then do you think that there's any possibility that I don't think there's any possibility that Republicans will vote for Hakeem Jeffries or any Democrat, but do you think there's any possibility that some Republicans, some of the quote-unquote more moderate Republicans or those who won Biden districts would at any point try to make a deal with Democrats to get a more moderate Republican in there and maybe provide some concessions to Democrats, so maybe so that they weren't as right-wing. They put forth some aid to Ukraine or something, some kind of concessions that would bring some Democrats on board. What do you think about that possibility?
Right, because the government's going to shut down a little bit. We're back in this situation all over again. It's amazing how this keeps happening when Republicans get elected. We have a chance, hopefully. There are some conversations going on right now. 4 moderate members of the Dems caucus have stepped up and are trying to come up with some ways to maybe empower Speaker Pro Tem McHenry to be able to at least move something on an emergency basis. But it's not our job to decide who runs the House. The American people voted for Republicans to be the majority. The majority decides who the Speaker is. And if they can't figure it out, then, hey, we take it to the House and we let the majority decide. Hakeem Jeffries has 212 votes. He only needs 5 more. And there are 18 members of Congress, including 2 in L.A., who represent districts that L.A. voted for President Biden. So, I think it's time to apply some pressure to those members of Congress to decide hey, we want a governing party in charge. And if you are not going to govern, then you're not going to be sent to Washington to govern. So, let's get in touch. Let Mike Garcia know. Hey, if you can't do it, we know somebody who can.
That's a fact. That's a fact. When we come forward, we're going to talk about the one of the officers in the 2019 killing of Elijah McClain, a black pedestrian who was put in a chokehold and injected with a powerful sedative. One of those officers was convicted this week, and the other one was acquitted. But one of them was convicted. We're going to talk about that when we come forward right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's the real deal in real time. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
We're celebrating 1 year of the K. From checking out the vibrant art and diverse dining in Lamert Park to cheering on your favorite team in Inglewood, you can choose your own adventure when you ride the Metro K-Line. Leave the car at home and go Metro. Visit metro.net/K-Line.
Hello?
Man, where are you? I thought you were coming.
I can't. I'm in bed with the flu.
The flu? Whoa. Grandma's about to crowd surf. Man, I'll call you back.
Don't get stuck at home with the flu. A flu shot is safe, effective, and you can get it at the same time as your COVID-19 vaccine. A flu shot is the best way to prevent the flu and its potentially serious complications. Don't get flu FOMO. Learn more at getmyflushot.org.
Brought to you by the AMA, CDC, and the Ad Council.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom? She started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for education as a right, not a privilege. Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science is a private, non-profit, community-founded, student-centered university committed to cultivating diverse health profession leaders who are dedicated to social justice and health equity for underserved populations. CDU does this through outstanding education, clinical service, and community engagement. Recently, Charles Drew University made history by opening only the 5th medical school at an historically black university. Congratulations, South LA, and congratulations to the Dean of the medical school, Dr. Deborah Protho-Stith. CDU is now training doctors and providing $90 million in annual economic benefit to Watts and surrounding neighborhoods. To apply for medical school, get more information, or sign your child up for the Junior Doctors Saturday School program, visit cdrewu.edu. That's cdrewu.edu. At KBLA, we are dedicated to equity in education and ending healthcare apartheid, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The way we spend our time defines who we are. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
Back on the Friday edition of Areva Martin in real time. Avi Bernard here with you, along with Christopher Walton, the former chair of the Democratic Party of Milwaukee County. All right, Chris, let's talk about this conviction yesterday. A Colorado jury yesterday convicted one of 2 officers charged in the 2019 death of Elijah McClain, a black pedestrian who was put in a chokehold and injected with a powerful sedative. The jury acquitted the other officer. The officer's name was Randy Rodema. He's the one who was convicted of criminally negligent homicide and third-degree assault. And the other officer, former officer Jason Rosenblatt, was acquitted. And obviously grateful that that one of them was convicted, and I'm looking forward to seeing that sentencing, which is set for January 5th. But what's crazy about this, not just that the other officer was acquitted, but that the officer who was acquitted was fired in 2020 because they saw text messages from him and some of the other officers. These other officers were at a memorial for the man who they murdered, and one of them was administering a kind of miming putting someone in a chokehold or putting someone in a chokehold, and kind of like making fun of the fact that they murdered this dude. And then this officer, the one who was acquitted, responded "ha ha" to the picture, sort of like LOL. And this is the dude who was acquitted. So I don't know what the evidence was or wasn't against him, but clearly he doesn't care that the kid was killed. I mean, it's an innocent person who was murdered, and this dude's over here laughing about it. So what are your thoughts on this conviction / acquittal?
It's sad. It's sad that he did not get convicted. I don't know what the evidence was to hold back that, but hey, I don't know. But I'm glad that somebody is being held responsible for this young man's death. I'm glad that situation is at least it's actually being paid attention to, and people are working on it. It's really sad that at this time frame that we have to deal with this, but I'm glad that we are at least getting some of them. One thing that we still need to pass is the George Floyd Justice Act, so that people like this, we can get them off the streets. There are pieces of legislation. I remember when I ran for the Wisconsin State Assembly, one of my policy platforms is actually banning these officers from being able to go, like, say, for instance, if you were to kill someone and move to the next community over, you can be hired. Like, you got fired in L.A. or you just moved to Anaheim. No, you are done in the state of California, and that should be nationwide. If you kill somebody in Wisconsin, you shouldn't be able to move over to Texas or move to California and become a cop again. No, you did this. You're done. Find something else to do.
That would have been a great law, and I agree with that. And that's a thing that a lot of these officers do. They kill someone, and then they maybe get held sort of accountable by getting fired, and then they go to a different precinct in a different city or a different state, and it's just forgotten all about. And they continue on doing police work, probably with racism in their heart, and it's just it's crazy, man. And this young man McLean was just 23 years old. He just went to the corner store to get some iced tea, and then they stopped him because they said he basically fit the description of something that they heard happen. And it's just insane, man. And like as you said, Chris, I'm glad that we're getting some of them, but as long as these injustices continue, then we have to continue to do the work and make sure that we hold these officers accountable, because they clearly don't care about this man's life. They're laughing about it. They're joking about it. If you're remorseful, even if you do something like this by accident, you'd think you'd have some remorse. But if you're showing that level of callousness, what does that say about your level of care for the people you're there to protect and serve? So it's hideous, man. And speaking of hideous, before we get out of here, I want to get your thoughts on Carrie Lake officially announcing that she's running for Senate. Now Ruben Gallego is going to be running for the Democratic. He's going to be the Democratic nominee. He's going to be running as a Democrat, and you have the incumbent Kyrsten Sinema, who left the Democratic Party to become an independent. She hasn't said whether or not she'll run yet. Do you think the race is more favorable for Ruben Gallego if Kyrsten Sinema is in it, or if she does not run?
I'm looking forward to seeing Senator Gallego either way, especially with Carrie Lake in the race. I'm looking forward to seeing Senator Gallego elected, and I would hope that Sinema would go ahead and just drop out completely and be done with it. But hey, you don't get to pick your opponent, so
that's true.
I look forward to seeing Senator Gallego elected in November of 24 and sworn in 25.
I sure hope you're right. Well, Christopher Walton, it's always a pleasure having you on the show. Your perspective and being able to explain things in such a clear manner. Really appreciate it. And where can we keep up with you online?
But yes, absolutely. And thank you for having me. Feel free to follow me on it's called Twitter. Mama calls it Twitter. It's called Twitter. Chris Walton, MKE. And I look forward to talking to you.
Yes, sir. And again, happy belated birthday, and looking forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you. Thanks again.
All right. When we come forward, we're going to be talking to someone who is very knowledgeable in the history of the nation of Israel and the conflict between Israel and Hamas. This conflict goes back a very long time, and the nation of Israel was established in 1948, and the conflict goes back much farther than that. So we're going to have that conversation when we come forward right after this news, traffic, and sports update right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Esther Dillard, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Qatar discussing the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas. He said the U.S. and Qatar have the shared goal of stopping the war from spreading and to secure the release of hostages held in Gaza, including a handful of Americans. In Washington, D.C., House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is criticizing those he called Republican extremists as they try to elect a new speaker.
House Democrats are going to continue to put people over politics and to fight to make life better for everyday Americans.
Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan is the Republican nominee for Speaker of the House. The chairman of the House Judiciary Committee was nominated during a closed-door meeting. He'll have to now earn at least 217 votes from his own party to win the Speaker's gavel during a vote on the House floor. And that's the latest. I'm Esther Dillard from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Expect a 45-minute commute running heavy on the 405 South in West LA between Sunset and La Tierra Boulevard. Also in Hollywood on the 101 South between Gower Street and Mission Road. A 40